I'm Howie Scarborough. I'm the CEO of Fall Protection Distributors, and we've recently put out a blog about Empire Steel buildings and the correct fall protection equipment to use on those roofs. We want to protect the roof and the workers at the same time. So if you jump over to the website, dive into this blog, you'll see we do some background on the company. And they put out 4 different mechanically seamed panels. So if you don't know which seam you're working on, you can quickly scroll through this article. You should be able to identify which panel you're working on. But down here at the bottom, there's a quick reference chart once you know which panel it is. And you can see the panels are across the top. You can see they're very compatible with all the products we're going to be talking about, which are down the left column. So starting with the SSRA1, so it's a single worker tie-off. It uses 12 non-penetrating set screws. The first version of the SSRA1 contains a all stainless steel cup tip screw. So it's basically a blunt tip, doesn't penetrate the panel. It squeezes the panel between 6 pairs of set screws. And this provides a single worker tie-off. It's going to fit about 95% of today's standing seam panels, as long as they're steel, non-curved, and 22 or 24 gauge steel. That's what's important. The other version of the SSRA1 would be a nylon tip. So this is going to be intended for 24 gauge steel. This has a nylon bushing in the end of the set screws. It's the only difference between the 2 versions. It's the same anchor. It's just different interchangeable set screws. Now with the nylon tip set screws, these are going to use more torque. They're going to go 180 to 200 inch-pounds. Now remember, we're talking inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. So it's not a lot of torque on either one of these. That's for 24 gauge steel, and that's going to provide the same single worker tie-off. In both instances, you've got the removable D-ring, and then we have adapter plates that we can add to these to really expand the functionality of this system. So starting with the SSRA2. So if you need 10-foot wooden walkboards on a standing seam roof, of course, you can't make any penetrations. You're going to mount 2 SSRA1s with the D-rings removed. You're going to put those about 8 feet apart, mount them on seams. And then you can take a pair of SSRA2 roof jacks. You're going to mount these on top of those anchors. And these are going to be seam height adjustable as well as roof pitch adjustable. So that's going to give you the mounting base for a 10-foot wooden walkboard. Now, if you need up to a 100-foot temporary horizontal lifeline, you could take 2 SSRA1s with the D-rings removed. You'd mount those on seams next to each other. You'd mount an SSRA3 anchor plate on top of those 2 anchors, and that would be the end anchor for horizontal lifeline. So for a full system, you'd have 2 anchors and a plate on each end of a 100-foot rope, and we do have a kit that has everything you need. That would be 4 anchors, 2 plates, and a 100-foot horizontal lifeline. You can work 2 workers on this rope, and we do recommend along that rope, wherever the work area is going to be, just buy a couple of extra SSRA1s and mount those near above the work area. So when you travel down the rope, when you get to the work area, you just clip off the rope and into a fixed anchor point, and that allows other workers to get around and move equipment around or whatever has to be done on the travel line, on the horizontal lifeline. So if you need a permanent horizontal lifeline, we offer an industry exclusive Super Anchor 120-foot horizontal lifeline. That's galvanized steel cable. So that's designed for standing seam roofs. It has non-penetrating clamps. It has the base plate with a 5-inch riser post and 120 foot of galvanized steel cable. So another great option that's available on the website. So if you're working on maybe an aluminum or zinc or copper or some steel panel that's other than 22 or 24 gauge steel, if it happens to be 612 to 1212 pitch, we have a great alternative, and that's the Ridge Pro. So the Ridge Pro is sort of like a ladder hook, except without the ladder. So you've got the hook mounted on the end of a 16-foot extension pole. So a worker would ascend a ladder, use the pole to run the Ridge Pro up the roof, flip it over the peak, and as it does so, it attaches a vertical lifeline to the peak of the roof. So as soon as that worker steps from the ladder to the roof, they're already tied off. So the whole time they're doing an inspection, doing a simple repair, they get back to the ladder, they were tied off the entire time. They were anchored to the peak of the roof. So once they're back to the ladder, they can simply grab the pole, flip it 180 degrees, it releases from the peak, and they can get safely to the ground. So great alternative for roof inspectors and gutter guys and doing quick repairs. Homeowners love these things as well. So if you have any questions about any of the products or panels, give us a call. Our phone number is at the top of the site. Our email is support@fallpd.com. And this little blue circle in the bottom right corner of our website, that is our live chat. Just let us know how we can help you.